What's up, everybody? My name is Sam. Welcome to today's yoga practice. Today's flow will be a yin-inspired flow focused on grief and moving through sadness. Because this flow will be yin style, definitely make sure you have any blocks, pillows, bolsters, or blankets that you might need. We'll be doing some longer holds in this flow, so make sure you have what you need to get comfortable in those. When you're ready, we'll get started in a comfortable cross-legged seat in the middle of your mat or any other comfortable seated position. Feel free to put a block or a bolster or a pillow under your hips. Definitely grab a pillow, blocks if you have them, fold up a blanket if you want to. We'll be doing longer holds, so you want to get comfortable in those holds. And once we drop in, really start focusing on finding stillness in the body. That's really what yin yoga is about, is disciplining the body and the mind. So I'm going to give you some verbal cues as we move through that about relaxing the muscles. But as we go, I'm going to give fewer cues just so you can sit in the uncomfortableness of silence and build up some discipline about that. Between poses, we'll only be doing about 10 or 11 asanas. So between those, feel free to transition as your body is asking you to. You might need to take a little gentle counter movement or just like wiggle out your legs or your arms. Just listen to your body between asanas. Move at your own pace. Like I said, these will be longer holds, so take your time getting into them, settle into them slowly. Be mindful about that. And if you want a mantra for today's practice, it might be something like, I embrace my emotions with compassion, and I honor my grief and allow it to flow through me. So the point is to be able to experience grief, sadness, or change, and let it go. So start to settle in. When you get there, remember, we're seeking stillness right away. Just see if you can come to stillness. Challenge the body and mind. And if you feel like you must move, I encourage you to focus on the breath. And just feel that expansion and contraction through the lungs, through the chest. Focus on the subtleties of that movement. Feel free to rest your hands anywhere that is comfortable. You can take a mudra or just rest your hands on your knees or your thighs or your abdomen, whatever feels right. You can also just open up the hands or fold them in your lap. As always, feel free to close your eyes anytime it feels good, or just keep a soft gaze, whatever helps you find stillness and ease. Notice the depth and richness of the breath. And its union with the physical body. As you settle in, start to notice and observe how you feel in the physical body, the intellectual body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body, whatever those things mean to you. If you're feeling distracted, notice what's pulling your thoughts. Just observe that for a moment and then let it go. Starting to create this space for yourself on your mat. Take a few more moments just to observe. Keep working towards stillness. And just make sure you're not tensing or holding, contracting your muscles anywhere. Relax through the face, the neck, the shoulders. Relax all the way down through the hands and feet. Reconnect with the breath if you've lost that connection. Take a few more deep inhales and exhales. If your eyes are closed, you can slowly bat them open. Bring your awareness back to the physical body. And before we get into our Yin-style asanas, we're just going to do a little cat-cow. So move slowly, super slow transitions here. Listen to your body. You can roll forward onto all fours and then center yourself on the mat. Just take your time getting there. You're moving at your own pace, you're transitioning in your own way. Observing the body, moving with intention. So y'all know what to do in cat-cow. I encourage you to move with the breath. As you inhale, drop the belly, drop the low ribs, lift the gaze, tail toward the ceiling. Exhale, press into the lower palms, arching through the upper back, low ribs inward, and move at your own pace. Connecting movement with breath. Still observing. Take your time moving with intention. Checking in through the spine, noticing what you feel and where. Take a few more breaths, a few more iterations here. Feel free to incorporate lion's breath if you want to, or move the spine in other ways that feel good. And when you feel satisfied, we're going to move into extended child's pose. So again, take your time getting there. You're moving at your own pace. When you're ready, you'll bring the big toes into touch. Send the knees as wide as is comfortable for an extended stay. And send the hips all the way back toward the heels. Feel free to grab a block or a pillow for your forehead. Walking the hands forward as much as is comfortable. Making this nice and passive. We're going to try to find that stillness that you found in your cross-legged seat. Checking back in with the breath, not tensing or holding in any muscles of the body. Relaxing through the connective tissues. Focusing on that expansion and contraction of your nice full inhales. And long exhales. Take this time just to turn inward and observe. Put your mind's eye where you feel sensations in the body and try to understand what you're feeling and where. Reconnect with the breath if you've lost it. Allowing yourself to feel whatever you feel and to move through it. Settle in a little deeper, turn inward. Just observe and let go. Stay connected to the breath. Bring your awareness to your fingertips, the palms to the forearms. Press into the fingertips gently to transition out of this pose. Lifting the forehead, moving slowly, like you're just waking up. Take your time transitioning out of this pose. Take any counter movement that you need to in transition. We'll come back up to all fours. And from here, we'll move into puppy pose. So knees are under the hips. We'll walk the hands forward, melt the chest down toward the mat. Hands are a little bit wider than the shoulders. Nice and passive here. You can bring the forehead to the mat, or you can put a pillow under your forehead. Get comfortable in this. And if this pose is way too intense on your shoulders, you can also Put your weight on the elbows and forearms instead. Relax the body, quiet the mind. Observe without judgment, without attachment, and without getting overwhelmed. Try to find stillness in the body, not tensing or holding. Take a few more cycles of breath just to turn inward. Observe and let go of anything that's distracting you. Bring your awareness back to the fingertips, the palms, and the forearms. You can slowly pull them back in toward the body to transition out of this pose when you're ready. Taking your time, moving with intention. We'll come forward into Sphinx pose. So just extending through the knees, lowering to the belly. Feel free to recenter yourself if you need to. Remember to take any counter movement or any other organic movement between poses if you need to. And we're going to set up to stretch deeply through the chest here. So we're going to do what we did last time. We'll start by bringing that left arm to the outside edge of the left side of the mat, keeping that left elbow at 90 degrees. And we'll drag the right fingertips under the right shoulder to press us up onto our left side. Stacked hips, stacked knees, stacked ankles. We're going to be here for a moment, so find what gives you enough resistance but isn't too uncomfortable to hold. And we'll find stillness here. Reconnect with the breath. Observe what you're feeling and where. Stay present in that expansion of the lungs and chest. Notice the fullness of your breath. Check in and quiet the mind if you've become distracted. Let go of anything that's not serving you here and now. Take a few more moments just to breathe through the chest and the shoulder on the left side. And slowly bat the eyes open if they're closed. We'll transition to the second side at your own pace. You can begin by extending through the legs and rolling back onto the belly. I encourage you to reset in Sphinx for the sake of symmetry. Check in, notice how you feel. Set up on that second side by bringing the right arm to the outside edge of the right side of the mat. Elbows at 90 degrees. Bring the left fingertips under the left shoulder to help guide you onto stacked hips, knees, and ankles. Settle in. Find that degree of pressure in the left hand and degree of flexion in the right elbow that give you the intensity of sensation that you're seeking. Check in with the body, making sure you're not tensing through the face, the hands, the feet. Not holding anywhere. Just allowing easy inhales and exhales. Connecting with the sensations of the body, staying present, and quieting the mind. Give yourself permission to relax and let go. Feel free to close your eyes if it feels good. Just remember to observe whatever you're feeling without judgment, without attachment, and without getting overwhelmed. When you feel satisfied on this side, we're going to transition into downward dog next. So move at your own pace, only when you're ready. Give your body time to wake up. Move with intention and observe through the transitions. And remember to take any easy organic movement that your body might be calling for between poses. Coming into downward dog, we'll curl the toes under, send the hips up. If this is your first downward dog of the day, don't be anxious if your heels don't touch the floor. And we're using downward dog as a tool to transition into pigeon pose, so feel free to take any easy organic movement through the feet, the ankle, the calves. Check in here, notice how you feel. We'll start on the right side by planting the left foot, coming into three-legged dog. This is optional. Just explore, move into pigeon however you like. From three-legged dog, I like to just bend into my right knee, drop my heel toward the left shoulder, and then I'll guide that right knee all the way up and through, coming to the outside edge of that right hip, extending long through the left leg, walking my toes back to however is comfortable. So grab some props, pillows, blocks, whatever you might need here. Take a moment in the upright version of this pose just to check in and notice what you feel. If this pose is super intense, you can open up that degree of flexion in the right knee a little bit, and then bring a block or pillow to the front. As we fold forward, you can use that for support if you need to. Folding forward onto that right knee, settling in for a few minutes. And just let the hands relax or clasp them together in front of you. You can also stack your fists if you don't have a block, and just bring your forehead to the top of that stack. You can also just stack your palms if you want the forehead a little bit lower. And once again, we'll check in with the breath here right away, settling in, finding stillness, turning inward. Making sure you're not tensing or holding anywhere in the body. Check in with the glutes and the hips here. We want to deeply relax the muscles so we can stretch deeper into that connective tissue. Find your connection with the breath. Breathe into what you feel. Try to observe without getting overwhelmed, without judgment, and without attachment. Check in with the breath. Remember your mantra. The Allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. Notice and give space for those feelings. Acknowledge them and let them go. If you've lost focus, just come back to the breath. Feeling the lungs expand with every inhale. Letting go of something you don't need with every exhale. Take a few more deep cycles of breath just to turn inward and find stillness physically and mentally. Move with intention as you transition out of this pose, moving at your own pace and only when you're ready. Give the body time to wake up. Spend some time upright before transitioning to the second side, which is what we'll do next. So just take a moment, regain your balance, do a little scan. Notice how you feel, and then maybe curl those left toes under. To come back into downward dog and any other counter stretch you might need. Transition to that second side when you're ready. Maybe start by coming back into three-legged dog. Maybe not. Get there how you get there. You know, pigeon pose. As you come into that second side, just remember how things went on the first side. If there's anything you need to adjust before you fold forward, do so. If you want a different block or prop, if you want a pillow there, if you want to change the degree of flexion in your knee, Check in while you're in the upright position, and then move into that reclined position, that forward fold when you're ready. I'm going to be pretty quiet on this side. Just remember to check in, quiet the mind, turn inward. Reconnect with the breath if you start to lose focus. When you're ready to transition out of this pose, do so mindfully. Open the eyes slowly. Use the hands to gently walk yourself up. Spend time in that upright position before bringing that right leg forward. You can recenter yourself on the mat at your own pace. And when you get there, we'll send both legs out in front for our seated forward fold. Feel free to get a block, a pillow, a bolster if you want to rest your forehead on that. When you're ready, extend the legs out long. Find that nice spinal alignment. So nice and long from the crown of the head to the tip of the tail. Check in there, roll the shoulders back. Notice the breath. And when you're ready, we'll send the hands all the way up toward the ceiling, palms facing each other, getting even longer through the spine. And then hinging at the hips, we'll fold forward. Imagine sending the hands beyond the feet. And maybe they don't get there, that's okay. Wherever you land in your fold, let's make it pretty passive so you're not forcing yourself downward with the hands. You might even open up the palms to the left and right of the shins. Feel free to adjust your block or pillow. If you have one, you can also just hold a pillow here and just let the spine relax. Find a version you can settle into. Breathe deep all the way down the back body into the hips. Notice the breath. Let go of everything else. Checking in and finding stillness in this pose. Make sure you're not tensing or holding the skin of the face or the hands or the feet or anywhere in the body. Take a few more cycles of breath just to return to your body. Notice what you feel. Notice how you feel. Gently open the eyes if you had them closed. We'll transition from this pose to Shavasana. So move at your own pace, take any counter movement or easy organic movement between poses that you might need. Transition slowly into corpse pose, however you get there. Feel free to use a pillow or a block under your head, your neck, your low back, whatever is comfortable. And we'll be in this pose for only about 3 to 5 minutes, but I'd recommend doing it for 10 minutes or more if you have time after the class. So settle in once again, feel supported by the mat, by the earth. Reconnect with the breath. Notice how you feel as your body and mind absorb the nutrients of this practice. Check in again with the physical body, the intellectual body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body. Notice how you feel without judgment, without attachment, and maybe without getting overwhelmed. Remember that grief and sadness can manifest in a variety of ways, including in the physical body. It's important not to ignore those things, but to observe and move through them. One of the best ways to do that is by incorporating mindfulness or just by slowing down. Slower sequences or yin yoga sequences are great for moving through emotions in tough times. Consider those next time you are feeling overwhelmed. Settle into the body and enjoy these last few quiet moments just to turn inward in this safe space that you've created for your practice. Before we close this practice, I want to do a quick land acknowledgement, recognizing that I am leading this practice from former Monongahela, Osage, and Erie lands. We recognize the sacrifices of the indigenous folks who inhabited these lands before us, and we recognize that their struggles are ongoing and that there's a lot of ways for people like us to support them. I'm going to bring my palms together to rest gently at the space between the eyebrows or the forehead or the third eye. Feel free to join me if it feels right. And in closing this practice, I also like to recognize that yoga is an ancient spiritual practice stemming from the subcontinent of India and Indian culture. So we respect and honor that cultural heritage. We also recognize that yoga functions as many things for many peoples of the world. For us, yoga is a community. I thank you so much for being part of my community today. I hope you're able to let go of any grief or sadness that you're experiencing today, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.